Well, welcome back to the Ultimate Pool Pro Cup, second match of our evening session. Dylan Leary versus Simon Fitzsimmons about to get underway. And joining me in the commentary box, coming across from the studio, Ultimate Pool professional Greg Batten to talk us through this one. Quite an intriguing matchup we've got here as well.
Yeah, definitely promises to be a very good match. And I was just speaking to Ronan then, who knows Dylan really well, similar age. And as he said, Dylan he's got the tactical game, he's also got the potting, very, very fluent when he gets going. And of course you've got bouncer, Simon Fitzsimmons, who is a powerful player, shall we say. His break is massive and you know, he can steamroller his opponent. So promises to be really interesting, this one.
I think it's a really good way of putting it with Simon. Once he gets on a roll, he can really get on a roll and just take frame after frame. But yeah, he's got to be given the opportunities first, and he hasn't got an opportunity in the first frame because it is Dylan Leary with a good break who has this first opportunity. And well, this is a sort of layout you quite like in the opening frame of a match as well.
Yeah, he'd have been over the moon with this break. I mean, there isn't one awkward ball, I don't think. And obviously Dylan did his job in the lag before the match started. So he would have won the lag, so he breaks first. And if he can get off to a good start and nick this first frame, then Simon's under the pressure straight away. I think it's probably more important for Dylan to get off to a good start if he can than Simon. I know Simon was 3-0 down, I think, in his qualifying match yesterday and managed to come through strong. So in terms of who's going to get the most chances off of their break, you would have to imagine, Simon, that it would be Simon, Fitzsimmons normally, just because he's got the bigger break.
Yeah, I agree with that. And it's probably a match where we're seeing the seeded player in Dylan Leary, because he's up against a new Ultimate Pool professional. I suspect the bookies probably have Simon as a slight favourite for this match, even though he's the qualifier of the two.
Yeah, I think you're right there. I think we know that this is probably a 50-50 match, but you know, just based on how Simon plays and some of the wins he's had in the style that he plays in, yeah, he might be just slightly favourite with the bookies.
Dylan's just got to be slightly careful here.
Yeah. Sorry, Simon. Yeah, he just needs to. He was thinner than it looked, and as you alluded to, he's now overrun his last penultimate ball.
Amazing how it snowballs on you. Slightly overrun the previous one by half a roll, and this time he goes out by a roll, maybe roll and a half. But he can still control this. But he has missed it.
Yeah, and you could see that the pressure was mounting then as he played that shot.
I think if he could have played it plain ball and come twice across the table, I just didn't see him missing it. But because he had to avoid those reds and screw into the top half of the table, I think that sort of, he wanted to pot it almost thicker to help the cue ball. So Simon Fitzsimmons gets an unexpected chance here in the opening frame.
Yeah, and he'll be trying his best to clear these up if he can.
Do you think the 8-ball squeezes by the yellow to the bottom left?
I think it does. I think it does. However, in terms of getting on it, I think he needs to be right. But oh well, we can clearly see. I think that goes in nicely.
Oh, Simon misses an early pot as well.
Put a bit of a quick one in there for Simon.
He has at least left a snooker, as we have another quick look at the missed pot from Simon. You still expect Dylan to make this pot. It's just whether he can land on the 8-ball.
Yeah, and the red below the white is slightly in the way, so he's digging into this white to try and straighten it up off the cushion, and that's the problem. Simon got a little bit fortunate with where the red went. So
yeah, first glance I thought he had the natural angle, but you're absolutely right. You can see the way he's trying to play this. He's actually quite close to getting the contact.
Yeah. And the layout of these are a lot easier than the last attempt, so you would imagine Simon won't disappoint in clearing these up now. I know from playing earlier that you know, every player is just so desperate to get off to a good start. Obviously, it's such a big day for everybody, and you want to feel like you're in the event. And I think until you can win that first match, as in most tournaments, the first match is always the hardest, until you can get in and get settled. So
I think we saw that a good example of that would be the way that Tom Cousins started. Missed a pot in his first frame, and it wasn't until he got his first clearance on the board that he really settled down. And then once he did, he found top gear.
Yeah, and again, John Rowe as another example.
Yep.
You know, me and him twitched a few and missed a few, and then all of a sudden he pulls off a fantastic performance. I think the first 5 frames against Shane, he hardly missed a ball. So
yeah, got onto a roll, which can happen, and Simon does get that first frame on the board. So, and he'll be breaking off next. So we'll see if he can get onto that roll that we talk about. As we'll have a quick look at his profile, and you can see one of the big tournaments he won was the grand final, the shootout grand final. Won that in dramatic style, clearing up twice with 2 minutes 30 on the clock to turn around a 4-3 deficit and winning 5-4 against Jordan Shepherd in what was an incredible turnaround in that final. Also made the World Championship finals in 2017.
yeah, he's definitely got the pedigree. Here we're going to see his hammer of a break. And I've cursed him, unfortunately, but you can see how well he connected with it. It's just a bit unfortunate to get kicked in off.
Gets the cue ball going controlled as well. This is actually very unfortunate to get kicked in off.
Yeah, he's coming right back down the table, and then, yeah, it's very unlucky.
He'll be happy with the quality of contact. If he hits them that good all night long, he'll be really happy with that. He's not going to get kicked in off in that way every time, so he'll be annoyed, obviously. But
yeah, also looking at the table, he's not, you know, he's not left drop-ins for Dylan. With what happened in the first frame, Dylan's under a little bit of pressure now. Be desperate to get his first frame on the board.
Yellow balls in play.
yeah, one bad yellow on the table, the one to the nearest the right-hand cushion.
Just thinking, can he drop this one down the rail and leave the yellow into the middle to then play the cannon potentially? Maybe able to do that, or he might just play on the bottom of the 2 yellows in the middle of the table and then leave the angle on the yellow closest to the right bottom pocket. Yeah, it's just dropped down.
He might still be able to play that shot from the top yellow. Don't know if there's it might not be quite enough room to do that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a number of ways he could go on this, I guess, but see what he does. Yeah. Elected to play it with top, so he's now got a natural angle. Doesn't have to worry too much, just has to concentrate on the pot, and the white will be tracking naturally into the red.
And that will do. It's come out really nicely for him. Both yellows at the bottom still go. Playing it the way he did, there was always a chance that red could go in front of that yellow.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, maybe he thought that was the best way, but I was thinking the same. I thought he might have topped that in, but he still should be okay. Just needs to make sure he controls this nicely and gets a good angle on the yellow closest to the bottom cushion. He's landed a bit straight.
Yeah, that's not great. See a slight grimace on his face as he was walking around.
I think he's got enough angle to be able to hard screw this. And what I mean by that is it almost becomes like a stun shot. So let's see how he plays it. Oh, he was able to come direct off the bottom cushion, so back cushion, so that's fine. Say it's fine. He still needs to cue this in.
Yeah, and he's probably got that angle again that's slightly awkward. He can't just stun this in, I think, unless the 8 ball goes to the bottom right-hand corner. I don't think it does. That's what's forced the miss, was he was concerned about the cue ball onto the 8 ball. Very similar to the opening frame. Misses his last yellow. Leaves a wide open table for Simon Fitzsimmons, although he hasn't left Simon a particularly inviting first shot. As we have a quick look at his miss once again.
No, but already worrying times for Dylan. He's had 2 good chances and not been able to capitalise as yet. As we know, the longer you go without getting your first frame on the board, the pressure just keeps on mounting, as we saw with the match with Declan and Ronan. And
the disappointing thing, I think, for Dylan as well is the fact that they were good chances and he was in really good position with a couple of balls to go. It was his sort of almost penultimate positional shots just left him too much to do.
Yeah.
Foul. Ball in hand. Time running.
Simon not really got a lot to do here now. Just needs to keep control of the cue ball, and these should be in the back of the pockets.
It's amazing in pool. It's talk about players at the top level and how important getting the break going and first chances are, but if your opponent gets first opportunity and doesn't take them, it's amazing how easy it just makes the game for you. If Simon comes to the table with a layout like this every time, he's not going to make many mistakes.
No, exactly right.
And the break is very important, but unless you play well after the break, it means nothing. Simple 8-ball to complete the job, and okay, very early in this match, but 2-0. It's the way it's gone 2-0 is quite ominous for Dylan Leary. He needs something good to happen, and he does break off in frame 3. While the balls are being wrapped up, we'll take a quick look at his profile, and there you can see finished the opening season with Ultimate Pool in the Professional Pro Series, ranked 19. He was right down at 31 with 2 events to go, and he had a decent run to the semi-final of Pro 7, which really helped him in the rankings and the reason he's seeded for this event. But you can see his titles and some of the titles he had going into lockdown. He's one of the players that was really riding high before the enforced sort of break in the game that we all faced. Some big titles at the back end of 2019.
Yeah, I think obviously the pandemic, I should say, came at just the wrong time for Dylan, as it did for everybody else. But yeah, as you say, he was right on the cusp of doing great things. And wow, look at this. It's always the same. It's like the pool gods are punishing him now, because he knows and they know he should have taken the first couple of chances he had and kicked it off again.
Yes, it's amazing how often we see it. You know, that you don't take the chances that get presented with you, and then all of a sudden your opponent gets their chances, and the match can be, especially in short races like races to 7, matches can get taken away from you very quickly.
Yeah, they can. We see it. We see it all the time, you know, within the Pro Series, obviously, and unfortunately for Dylan, he's not getting any table time now. He's had the couple of chances, he's not capitalised, and he's got to sit down again and probably, you would think, watch Simon clear these up, because it's not a bad layout, is it?
No, and from Simon's side of the table, though, he wants to keep Dylan in his chair, and he doesn't want to allow the same thing that's just happened to Dylan to happen to himself. He wants to really, you know, make the most of his advantage, you know, make this reverse clearance and then find a big break of his own. And he'd love to be in a position that he's 4-0 up next time Dylan touches the table.
Yeah, and as you said, with his break, providing he doesn't go in off, he's 99% going to get a ball every time because he hits them so well.
And also that he invariably gives himself a lot of good chances off his break because of the power he breaks with. It's not just making a ball, but more often than not, a really nice split across the table.
You can see with his cue action, there's not a lot that can really go wrong with it. He's very compact. He gets through the white nicely, and yeah, very, very solid all-round player. That's why he's able to keep such good control of the white ball, although he's let that one go a little bit. He's not happy with that.
Bit of a commentator's curse on
I've done that twice now. I think it looks like he's straight.
I think he's got just enough angle to top through. You can see where he's just putting his hand. He can come off the bottom cushion, but he hasn't quite got enough to be able to get up for the yellow into the centre of the table. So maybe just
power it through.
Either power it through or just almost leave yourself long and give yourself a shot. Let's see what he's going to... Oh, he's not much there at all, is there?
No, look at that. Has he found the gap? No.
I thought he had just a shade more angle and could get just almost the same level off the table, but on the left-hand side of the 8 ball.
Dylan will be sitting a bit happier in his chair now. I'm sure he would have fully expected Simon to have finished this frame off by now. So he'll be hoping to get another chance.
So trying to find a way of getting this yellow going towards a pocket. It's not just a case of hitting it. He wants to hit it in such a way that it's going to get a chance. And he tried for the top left, but not to be. So exactly what Dylan Leary wanted to see happen. A couple of awkward balls, but nothing too bad. The one nearest the yellow, it's just awkward in terms of playing on something after you pot it. Make sure you don't hit the yellow, and the red that he just tried to develop on the left-hand side.
Yeah, slightly surprising we went this route, but just slowed down now, and not sure he's played the snooker. I think he's got, I don't know if he's got full ball snooker, but Simon can easily swerve this or come off one cushion, 2 cushions even. The only problem with giving him another chance is he could hit, and here we go. Oh, I was going to say he could have got the hit and hope there, but
missed that one by a little bit.
Did.
A little bit of a distance. Didn't expect him to miss that one at all. And now Dylan will get rewarded for playing the snooker, because he gets to place his cue ball on the ball that I was saying was semi-awkward here at the top, because he can place it so he doesn't have to worry about the yellow. And the other ball that was awkward is he's bumped off the pocket and goes comfortably in the middle now, so the work is a lot easier because of it. Sometimes you can get sort of almost talk yourself into chasing a finish because you think, oh, my opponent's so good, they're going to make something from a snooker, and but when you do play the percentages, it will work out in your favour more often than not. That's the whole point.
Yeah, no, that's a good point actually, and I think I'm guilty of that. Others are as well, and you start to think negatively instead of just playing the right shot at the right time. It's okay. He would have liked to have been 6 or 8 inches further along, but he should be okay just to drop this in. Yeah, nicely done.
And he gets a frame on the board, punishes a mistake from Simon Fitzsimmons, and a bit of a bonus frame for him. He would have expected to lose the frame after the break, and we talk about not settling down till you get that frame on the board. That could be a big moment in this match.
Yeah.
We'll have a quick look at the mistake again.
Yeah, and Simon will be very annoyed with that, because he did, as you say, he did have enough angle to punch it in, but a 3-0 lead versus 2-1, it's massive in this short race to 7. So Dylan looking very relieved in his chair just now, sipping his water, and the match is on again.
Yeah, especially with it being Simon's break next, and we've already talked about how big his break is. But when we look at the mistake that he just made, for me it's the shot before it though. He he wasn't moving the cue ball very far, so to leave himself the awkward
Simon,
angle
fast break.
was a little bit
Two
careless from him, really.
Yeah.
And that's cost him a frame. And there's that explosion
Wow.
again. He really does hammer the
Cannot
pack.
believe he's not got a ball. Look at these. Go absolutely everywhere.
It really is huge. There are some players with massive breaks in the game today.
Yeah, you cannot hit them better
But
than that.
that is, I mean, he's caught that beautifully. That cannon's not worked out nicely for Dylan.
Red ball's in play.
Not only is the two reds at the top of the table come awkward, he's not on the next ball. Not sure if he can get through to the one past the 8 ball or one in the middle of the table. It's very tight on both. I don't think he can. Having a second good look at this one past the 8 ball.
Extension called.
Won't be too disappointed with that one. He's got Simon at arm's length. A couple of half chances for him, or at least one. It's not a particularly nice shot, the one to the bottom left.
He's always going to struggle to get safe, especially with the lie of the yellows. So Simon's a very good single ball potter. Oh, goodness me. He's put a couple of quick ones in for Simon. And by that I mean he's not delivered the cue in a smooth way. He's gone through a bit too quick. And he'll know that he's done that, and doing it myself occasionally, it's not very good for your confidence. So
can sort of eke into the rest of your game.
Yeah.
Especially as every time you get left with an awkward shot, you think about it a little bit more.
Yeah, it's in the back of your mind, and I think Simon is one of those players, is a confidence player, and he gets on a roll, and so he's just been halted a little bit at the moment.
Been a bit of a turnaround from the opening 2 frames where Dylan was making the mistakes and Simon was mopping up. Simon's now made a few mistakes of his own, allowing Dylan into this match.
Yeah, perhaps in the back of his mind he's still reliving that yellow. He snookered himself. These are fairly tricky shots that Dylan's got now. Red along the cushion. We'll just want to screw the white back. Judge it. Yeah, you see he's overran that. This is what I mean, especially on the table that's just been redone. It's so quick, it's like glass. So he's going to have to slightly reroute and maybe leave the thin cut on the last red. Shouldn't be a problem, but this has been the pattern of the match so far.
He's decided to try and play on it. And is he on it? I'm not sure. It's very, very tight. And he wasn't on it. Oh, he's fluked it, but the cue ball flies in at exactly the same time as the red.
Yeah, but again, that's really has been the pattern of Dylan's game, isn't it? Every frame he's had a good chance, pretty much, and the last ball or the last couple of balls he's made an error.
I have to say that the night as a whole so far has just been a very bizarre night of pool, especially after some really solid performances this afternoon. We've seen Declan Brennan just really not at the races at all, making mistakes we just haven't seen him make all year long. And then we've got both players in this match almost keeping their opponents interested throughout every frame that's been played so far.
Yeah, I think we get used to seeing players just not miss. The standard is so high.
The game just isn't as easy as it's made to look some of the time.
No, exactly right. There's hope for us all. But these are definitely over. These are finished, you'd have thought.
With the way the match has gone so far, I'm just going to hold back on that a little bit. But yeah, they should be. would say if Simon does go on to complete these, that on balance of the match so far, you'd say 3-1 is probably a fair lead, but he's made enough mistakes, given enough opportunities to Dylan, that Dylan could be the same scoreline ahead.
Yeah.
And Simon does complete the job and get that 3-1 lead. The other thing with the way this match has gone so far, we've seen 4 frames of pool, but we're over halfway through the match, halfway through the 40 minutes, because it's the amount of times the players are letting their opponents back to the table as we take a look at some of the shots from that frame.
Yeah, here we see Simon not quite cue that one as smoothly as he'd have liked. But no, you're right. I mean, you know, the frames themselves could have been done and dusted a lot quicker, and I think it's just down to the errors from the players, unexpected errors. Dylan, he'll be desperately trying to, if he gets chances, to really close out the frames going forward, because he cannot afford to make any more mistakes at the end of the racks, because Simon will just mop up.
Especially if you, for me, if you don't punish great players when they make a mistake, you feel like they almost can free up even more, and then the mistakes can dry up because of it. When you've got them making mistakes, you need to really punish those errors.
Yeah.
Good break this time from Dylan.
Yeah, it's a lovely break. These yellows have gone really nice.
Change of break for him as well. Last break got kicked into the top right-hand corner from the front ball break, and he's decided to change for the cut break now. Keeps a little bit more control on the cue ball. Although when he went in off, it wasn't as though it was poor control.
Extension called.
Either set is actually nice, to be fair. Yeah, he's electing reds. This way he can instantly drop onto his most awkward colour, which is the one he'll be playing now. And the rest of the reds go into a pocket pretty much. So he should be fine. See Dylan really concentrating.
Yeah, almost as he knows how important this frame is. Can't afford to go 4-1 behind as we get closer and closer to the final 10 minutes of the match. I was wondering if he'd take that one out of the way before this one into the left centre, then the one back down to the pocket he's just played. This time looks to be perfect.
Yeah. If he's got a slight angle, he can sort of stun it out.
I thought he had to roll more angle than that so he could get almost straight on the red to the top left.
Yeah, this has now become a slightly tricky shot in that he'd like to just top it in, but obviously the black, you have to think about the black. He doesn't want to fall behind that. So let's see how he goes about this. Personally, I'd be stunning it across onto the side cushion, making sure you leave yourself a shot.
And Dylan agrees with you. Okay, if he finishes straight on the red to the left centre, it makes getting onto the 8-ball easier, but if you try and get straight and end up behind the 8-ball, you kick yourself.
Yeah, and the good thing with the way he's gone is he's left himself a natural angle just to go around the back of the black.
Oh, right when he needed it, without doubt. Dylan Leary's best visit to the table in the match. Lovely break and excellent control of the cue ball all the way through. Made the finish look simple. Cuts his gap back down to just 1. Still behind on the break, but with Simon breaking off next. But he'll feel a lot better for not just winning the frame, but also the way he won the frame.
Yeah, absolutely. Took them out nicely.
does make a difference when you're out there as well, especially if you start off slowly with some mistakes. It's like that really, you're like, yeah, well, that's one I've got on the board well. I've got control on that one, right? I'll take that. You know, you feel like you're going to take the next chance that comes your way as well.
Yeah, exactly right. Sitting a bit more relaxed in his chair now. Obviously can't control what Simon does, but
moving 3 frames to 2.
Finally, Simon's break turns up for the amount of power he puts through it. In a strange way, it's probably the worst he's hit the break so far, and it's the best reward he's had.
yeah, these. Well, I'm just thinking which is the better ball, but
Extension call.
A lot depends for me on the red nearest the left-hand centre, the top centre as we look now. He could play, if that, I was going to say, if that doesn't go, he can play into it now. But my first thought was yellows. I think on review, it's a tough call. And it does go, that red does go. And he's going to go for yellows.
Yellow ball's in play.
It actually all connects up quite nicely if he can take this one to the left and get straight enough on the one to the left centre and get on the one down the rail as quickly as possible. It's got a little bit more angle than that. It's going away from that yellow a little bit.
yeah, this is slowly becoming a little bit tricky. He should be okay. I think he's just placing the tip where he would like to be with the cue ball to play the yellow down the rail. As Simon says, he would have liked to have been a bit straighter on this one, but he's gone down for the bottom rail, and that's a really good shot actually, because he can play this now with a bit of side. A really nice shot there from Simon.
Yeah, especially if the 8 ball goes into the bottom left, it means he can play on the yellow into the right centre and just drop it in for a simple 8 ball. I think that 8 ball does go to bottom left. Doesn't need to play for it in that pocket, but most natural.
Yeah, lovely shot. Just coming down to check the where he needs to be to play the black into the left middle. I think it probably does go, actually, Simon, if he got right behind it, but better to play it safe. And
yeah, especially when it's not a full pocket.
yeah. Just overrun that slightly, but he should be fine. And it looks like after the early misses, both players are now beginning to take their chances, so should be in for a good finish.
Frame.
Yeah, I said on the frame before that it was Dylan Leary's best visit in the match. I think that's Simon Fitzsimmons' best visit in the match. He was asked a question, he's absolutely responded, opens up a 2-frame lead once again as we get into the back end of this match. Dylan now needs to replicate what he did on the previous frame and respond to Simon. He knows he's probably going to need some help from Simon in terms of Simon's break, but you can't worry about that at this stage.
Yeah, no, all Dylan can do now is just focus on his own frame, make sure he keeps the pressure on Simon as much as he can. So yeah, I'll be hoping for a really good break here. He used the cut break previously and it worked well. So let's see what he does this time.
Strange, he's gone back to the front ball. Very, very strange. But it's worked. It's a lovely break.
It has, apart from the black being slightly tied up. Don't know if that goes into the bottom left pocket as we look at it. If it does, then yeah, these are nice.
It is amazing to see a player have a really nice break and clearance in his previous break and then just change to a different break off.
Yeah.
Extension call.
You see it quite a lot when a player has some breaks that don't work out.
Yeah, you expect them to change it up then, but
Red ball's in play.
Just for a second, I think he thought he'd missed that on the thick jaw, but drops in. So he's up and running with reds. And you could see him straight away come round and have a look at the 8-ball. Biggest consideration for him.
yeah, if that goes, then he's in prime position to clear these up. But if it doesn't, you may see him play a cannon at some point. You may see him play it now if it doesn't go.
Just got to be careful not to stick on it. Well, he hasn't played the cannon, so does that tell us it does go? As we go into the final 10 minutes of the match. So we're at 15 seconds a shot now.
Yeah.
It is a race to 7, but match clock, if whatever the score is, when we get to, well, then the final 9 minutes 45 runs down. When we get to 0, that is the final score.
15-second shot.
And if it's tied, we're into a 6-red shootout, which is an awful lot of fun for us in the commentary box and to watch at home, but not so much for the players.
No, need to get their running shoes on. So he's come across, he's played this really well. Oh, could have done with just a couple more inches there, but he should be okay.
He's had another good look at the 8-ball, so it must go because he's played for it, but there isn't a huge amount of room, so he has to be quite precise here.
Yeah, he just flicked a little bit aside on that to help it in, so really nice clearance there from Dylan.
Third finish off the break on the trot. 2 for Dylan Leary, so we're back to just 1 frame in it.
You can see now that both players have actually settled down,
Yeah,
a bit more relaxed, aren't they, and showing us what they can really do.
Well, Simon's so relaxed, he's just lounging out there. He's waiting for the balls to be racked up, ready to go. Yeah, both players have certainly upped their game from the first few frames. Looks like they both had enough of the errors and keeping each other in it. And it's quite often the way, actually, when one player finds their form, the other player responds, and sometimes that happens the other way around as well. When one player gets a little bit nervy out there and makes some mistakes, the other player can follow suit.
Dylan just zoning in, making sure he's focused for his next opportunity, which is all he can do now, is hope that Simon either makes a mistake on the break or breaks down.
Leading 4 frames to 3.
We're going to see another hammer break from Simon.
We are, but it's going to be dry.
Dylan straight out of his chair then. And these reds look really, really nice.
Yeah, they are laid out really nicely, so good chance to tie the scores up. So I mentioned the 6-red shootout a few minutes ago, and just to clarify for those that aren't aware, the 6-red shootout essentially is what it sounds like. The 6 reds placed in the triangle area, the player that gets to clear them up the quickest will go through. If he's straight enough on the red to the top right, then it's not too bad. He does have the one to the top left as a fallback.
I think if either of these players are going to go on and have any hopes of winning this event, they'll both be aware that they need to tighten up a little bit on their cue balls. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, they'll know they need to up their game, whichever player goes through, but they'll just want to have that opportunity. We saw it with John Rowe earlier today. Played really well in his second match. Played well in both matches, as you know.
Yeah, I think sometimes it can just take a bit of pressure off, can't it, getting through this first match? And yeah, definitely saw it with John. He played far better against Shane than he did against me, but he still played pretty well against me as well. So it was one of those things, unfortunately for me. But
It was a lovely shot, two shots ago from Dylan to finish perfect on that red, just to be able to play that cannon.
Yeah, just a little screw back now. Use the yellow to stop the white. Nicely done. Really good stuff.
Yeah, there's another clearance from the break, this time a reverse clearance from Dylan Leary. So the last 4 frames have all been off the break, but 3 of them importantly for Dylan Leary, and we're all square. Not much time left in this match. Plenty for Simon Fitzsimmons to think about.
Yeah, and he's not really done a lot wrong the last 3 or 4 frames.
Do you think even at this stage in the match, you obviously you never want to look back and think about the mistakes that happened earlier on, but it's not always that easy to put out of your mind, because
well, I think I can only speak from personal experience, and you know, you're supposed to forget any bad shot as quickly as you can, but depending on how easy the shot was, it can be harder, and yeah, maybe that's just in the back of his mind.
Another good break from Dylan, and another change of break as well.
He's moved the white again.
There's 3 changes of break on the trot.
But controlled the white really well, as you say. And these reds, Simon, again, are looking really nice.
Red ball's in play.
And with 6 minutes on the clock, Dylan can take these out and go 1 ahead. There is all of a sudden a lot of pressure on Simon.
At what point in a match do you start thinking about the match clock as well, in terms of if you're in Dylan's shoes now, is you even going to allow that to enter your thoughts, or are you just focusing on clearing the table at this point?
Yeah, I think at the moment the key is for Dylan is just to get 1 ahead, you know, feel a bit more secure about the match. No doubt if he does clear these up, then he'll start looking at the clock, but again, he's just struggling with the white ball.
Yeah, with the previous shot just left himself awkward.
Yeah, and he's yet to develop the black, which I think he needs to. He's played that nicely.
And he's got an angle where he can develop the black, but can he develop the black and get onto his last red? Very difficult. It's good, very difficult to get onto his last red full stop.
Yeah.
I think it only goes into the left-hand centre. So in the end, just try to
bit of a hit and
screw
hope.
off it, and yeah, almost hit and hope. That's when the shot clock really hurts. You didn't have time to think of anything else.
Loss of turn.
And that's not worked out for him either.
No, not only has he put his red safe, he's left a very gettable clearance for Simon. Simon will be very relieved. I think if Dylan does go on to lose this match, he'll look back afterwards, and I think he'll know that it's only been his white ball that's let him down. He's potted well, he's broke well. It's just been that tight control of the white ball that he hasn't quite had.
Yeah, and you can't work on if you're picking out your patterns and your routes and you don't control the cue ball, you're always having to react to where you finish rather than almost grabbing hold of the finishes and having them under complete control.
It's understandable as well, because obviously the cloth, it does play so different to what he'll be used to be playing on back in his own club, I would imagine. He may have really quick tables, but it's like playing on glass. So reactive, and you know, maybe it's just caught him out a few times tonight.
And Simon mops him up, so that's back a bit more like it was in the first couple of frames. Simon goes ahead at a very key moment, especially with it being Simon's break next. He'll go a big step closer to winning this match if he makes a ball off his next break. As we have a little look at the errors from Dylan. It was the shot that he left getting onto the one he's just played, and then from there he's having to react to the awkward position he found himself in, and from here he's just got no chance of getting on that last ball.
Yeah, as we know, you want to get into the awkward balls and the awkward areas as soon as you possibly can. And unfortunately, Dylan just left it a little bit too late.
Not entirely sure what he was hoping to happen with that shot he played at the end there, whether he was just trying to get the red to sit on the yellow and or not, but it really couldn't have worked out any worse for him.
5 frames to 4.
And providing Simon gets a ball off of this break, he's going to run down quite a bit of the clock, you would imagine, on this finish.
And he's made a ball. It's not the biggest split, actually, considering the way that Simon breaks. It's slightly awkward in a few places.
Extension call.
Just thinking, if the red goes to the bottom left, there might be enough room for it. I think there is. And it's actually not the worst chance on reds here.
No, you're right. I think yeah, he's made that one. I think
I don't think he's happy with the way he's cueing, though. Once again, he made that, it rattled, and he sort of looks to the sky and very frustrated with the way he's cued. And that one looks like it squeezes by the yellow as well. So
he's played that pretty well. I'm not sure if he had an extension that he could have taken then, or maybe he's already taken the...
I think he's already used it. 15 seconds, a shot gets away from you quickly, doesn't it?
Yeah, but that's again a nice shot. I think he just needs to make sure he's reasonably well on this last red, and this could be close, very close to the match. Now, this was quite tight, Simon, I believe, when we looked at it last time, so he's got to cue this well.
Yeah, it wasn't the full pocket by any stretch. Yeah, very nice.
Much better, smooth. Just a simple black then for 6-4.
Excellent visit to the table from Simon. 6-4, 1 frame away from a last 16 matchup with Ronan McCarthy. But more importantly, from Simon's perspective, less than 2 minutes on the clock. So Dylan Leary in a world of trouble. Of course, this tournament has the golden break in operation and the golden duck, so strange things can happen out there. If you make the 8 ball off the break, you win the frame. If you make the 8 ball and foul off the break, potting the white, then you lose the frame. So even with such a short amount of time on the clock, it is possible. And of course, we saw a little under a month ago, or 2-3 weeks ago, with Gareth Potts clearing up from the break in 28 seconds. We know what is possible now. It is 30 seconds, you can still win a frame.
Stranger things have happened, and they have. And obviously, Carl Morris, we saw him do a ridiculous finish recently in ultra quick time. So yeah, it's definitely all to play for. But he's going to need something special now with 1 minute 37 seconds left.
Eight balls in motion, but it's not going to drop.
No.
Okay, now he has to go for an ultra quick clearance, and then he needs a big help from Simon Fitzsimmons. And whilst we're taking a look at the replay, he's played 2 shots. That's how quickly he's playing now, really trying to run through this, give himself as much time as possible for a potential clearance to catch up.
This is really quick. Started at 1 minute 27 seconds.
Well, that's brilliant. That's absolutely magnificent from Dylan Leary. That could be one of the quickest clearances from the break we've ever seen. That was incredible. That was absolutely incredible from Dylan Leary.
Simon's just laughing.
We did talk about the 28-second break clearance from Gareth Potts, which is the quickest I've ever seen. This could be even quicker. That was incredible. Just hoping somebody in our
maybe
say my ear
I might have got
time in a minute.
Was the shot clock when he started the break? Was it 1 minute 37 or 1 minute 27?
Not entirely sure, if I'm honest with you. I think it was 37.
Yeah. We'll just, if it was 37, let's just check. So it was 1:01. So, yeah, 36 seconds.
Yeah. I'm sure we'll find out shortly enough. But
regardless, it was a fantastic clearance in super quick time.
Okay, I've just had it in my ear. It was just under 37 seconds, but so he doesn't quite rival the 28 from Gareth Potts, but it's still very impressive. But what it has done is given him a chance in the match, but Simon has almost taken it away from him with a brilliant break. Now the match is for Simon just to run the clock down, and he will be through to play Ronan McCarthy in the last 16 later on, well, as soon as this match finishes.
Yeah, and on reflection, you would have to say that Simon is the deserved winner. I think Dylan, as we say, will look back and know that he could have had a tighter cue ball tonight. But he'll definitely be back. He's a great player, really, really nice chap, and yeah, he'll be at the next tournament looking to do better.
Yeah, and I think from Simon's perspective, he'll be slightly disappointed with a few aspects of his game, but he's still in the tournament and be happy to move on, and hopefully he can improve from there. But he did a lot of good in this match, as well as the couple of errors that he did make. But it is Simon Fitzsimmons that gets the job done as the bell tolls, and he will go through to play Ronan McCarthy.